Hey everyone, Anthony with Not Cool in High School. This is a show first, Ben. It's the first time this has ever happened, and so we have I don't know if it's our first guest call in for Not Cool in High School. It's definitely our first interview, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be.
And this is going to be exclusive only to the audio portion, so you can listen to this on Anchor, you can listen to this on Spotify, Google Play, everything. So kind of drive some people from YouTube to come over and see this if they want to check it out.
Definitely.
But we're here with Mike. Now, Mike, we'll let him introduce himself and let him go with what he's going to talk about. But there's a lot of cool stuff here to unpack, and if you're a retro game fan, this is definitely for you. So Mike, what do you got going on?
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I came on to speak mostly about a book that recently came out that I worked with Pat, the NES punk, who's also Pat Contry. The book it is the ultimate Nintendo guide to the SNES library. Myself, Pat Contry, and 10 other contributors all worked on the book together. And in the book, what we did was we took every single Nintendo or Super Nintendo game and we reviewed it. And we also added like a little reflection section, which basically we get to speak about our background with the game or what we thought about the game a little bit more than just a basic review. But that book just came out a couple months ago. So that's kind of like, what I've been going on a few shows here and there now just to talk about the book.
Now, without giving away too much in the book, obviously, because we want you guys to buy it, is there a game that, I know for me personally, there's a few games I'm like, man, like when I was a kid, this game was my thing. I almost cussed, Ben. I didn't do it. This game was my ish, and
right.
And I'm super excited to go back and play it. And then you put it in, and it does not hold up, and you're like, man, this is horrible. And then you go play another game that you thought was horrible, and you're like, this was amazing.
Yeah.
Did you come across any of those?
The main one that was kind of like, I didn't review it for the book, but it's one of the games that I grew up just absolutely loving and adoring. Being a big hockey fan, I was a big fan of a game called Hit the Ice, which is basically the hockey version of NBA Jam before NHL Hits came out, which was made on the PlayStation. This was like Super Nintendo Genesis.
I have one in between there. It's still my favorite hockey game of all time.
Oh yeah,
Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey for the N64.
That is a classic. That was like my first Nintendo 64 game, I believe.
That is all right. So like for sports, for me, the best sports games ever made for wrestling are the No Mercy N64 games, and that Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey is tough to beat. And then obviously NBA Jam is fantastic, but Hang Time was really good as well.
Oh yeah, Hang Time actually. I probably sunk more hours into Hang Time than I have NBA Jam. Hang Time is a classic.
Yeah, and then obviously NFL Blitz was a lot of fun too.
Right.
Yeah, those games are that was a genre of games in that N64 era. I know we're jumping ahead in time fine, but those sports games were so much fun, and they translate it very well to arcade machines.
And sports games, they get a bad rap. A lot of gamers now, they kind of crap on the Maddens and the NHLs because, I mean, to be fair, those franchises are getting very stale. They're releasing the same thing over and over, and just basically it's just an upgrade to the roster. But retro sports games, like, they are very easy to jump into still.
They're built more for fun and not simulation.
Exactly.
The problem was they made those games like the hits, the MLB hits and NBA jams and all those games every single year like they would normal sports games, and people just got bored. Like, just keep the same game and update the like. I think if they came back out, like if you put NBA Jam or like a new NFL Blitz out now and just said, hey, this is the game, it's a $30, $15 arcade classic, and we're just every year for free or for $2 you can update your roster. You know what I mean? I think it would hold up, because I think sometimes sporting games are too much simulation. Like right now, the big thing is the hockey game. When they brought back in NHL, they brought back the 3-on-3, and it played like Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
And then in the soccer game, they made like the street version. It's not as unrealistic like the old school ones, but like those games still stand up. You know what I mean? I think that it's people thought they didn't want the fun ones anymore, and now people are like, oh, these over simulated games are no fun either.
Right, and I think a contributing factor to these games not, I guess, being as good as they were is the Ultimate Team.
Oh yeah,
portions of the sports games that are coming
play,
out. They're just money grabs, and unfortunately, since those money grabs are working so well for these companies, EA. They're kind of just focusing more on that than actually updating the game and putting a new engine. Madden's engine is so old right now, and it needs an update. The game is just so stale.
Yeah, and a lot of
the same can be said for NHL. It's the same way.
Agreed. Yeah, and a lot of these gamers, like the old school gamers, they're starting to gravitate to those indie titles. Like they're going back to those side scrollers. They want to play those old school games because they're like, you know what? At least these games are coming finished. They're coming complete, and They scratch that nostalgia itch, and that nostalgia is definitely coming back, and people are begging for backwards compatibility, like, and systems are starting to do it. Yeah,
I am hoping that the next. I know they kind of dabbled in kind of wording the next console generations that's coming out, like Sony and Microsoft. Their wording isn't 100% specific. They are saying that those consoles are going to be backwards compatible, but they haven't given an extent to that compatibility yet. Like, is it going to be fully backwards compatible?
Well, Xbox
How far back are we going? Oh, have they?
Yeah, Xbox said it's pretty much you can put any disc in the game, any disc from original Xbox up, and it'll play. Now, if you go and if you try to go to their marketplace and download a game, like not every game's going to be available for marketplace, but those games, if you put your disc in the system, it will play.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
And then there are the games that they are on the marketplace. They kind of have enhancements, like the achievements. They're going to put achievements and stuff on them. Like they've already worked really hard on building a backwards compatibility library.
Yeah.
That's going to carry over
for the Xbox One.
Yeah. PlayStation's pretty much saying you're going to get PS4 backwards compatibility.
Okay, but they haven't. I've heard rumors that PS1, 2, and 3 games may work as well, but
they haven't really double down on that
that information.
Yeah, despite that, they didn't really confirm it, but it would be nice to actually see like some of the old games have these achievements that are established, because you're kind of wondering.
It changes games.
It does certainly change the games, and like people like now with trying to collect trophies and all, and say, instead of somebody saying, "Oh, I did this," and then bull crap. You know what I mean?
It calls you out on
it.
it.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, well, I have it on my game. I have it on my profile. Check it out." And then, lo and behold, right there.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember this. I'm not sure of your age. I'm 40 personally, but this was actually before my time. But when players had Atari back in the day, they would actually take pictures of their scores on their television and send it into, I believe it was Activision. And Activision would actually send the people that sent in their high scores, they would send them patches that they could put on their jackets.
I heard of that.
That's cool.
Yes. And there's like one was like what was it? Like I know one was like Panic, and like there's like a bomb one. I forget what that one is. And it was really cool how they did that and incorporated that back in the day.
Yeah, it was kind of like basically that was your achievement. That was like the ultimate goal back then.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff now in games. And then obviously with like Nintendo, they're doing the libraries of Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Super Nintendo in their libraries as well.
Right. I was at every so often I go up to a couple shops around the New Jersey area to go to just shop for some retro games, and I was speaking to the store manager, because I noticed his shelves were just full, like of Nintendo and Super Nintendo games and Genesis, the carts basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, I was like, "Hey, what's going on, man? Usually I come in here, these shelves are kind of barren." And he was like, "Yeah, since Nintendo's come out with their with their mini consoles and also their virtual console, which they had on the Wii anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and also the Genesis is coming out with their mini console." He's saying that a lot of people who were coming in to buy these retro games to not collect but just to play, he's like, they're not coming in anymore because now that these mini consoles are out, they really don't have a reason to.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed that they didn't make those consoles at least have the slot in them to physically put the game in it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Hyperkin has been doing.
Yeah, I think, and I understand why they probably did it, but then also like people are hacking them and adding almost the entire library in it. Like they're
Yeah.
yeah, which is kind of cool as well. Like if anyone knows how to do that, hit me up. I'd like to let you borrow
I can help you with that.
borrow my system. I don't have the files. That's the problem.
Done.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But yeah, when it comes to doing that, and I mean, more power to people that are able to do that and put all those games on their consoles. Trust me, I have several consoles around my house that has every game. Unfortunately, having access to so much at one time, you're kind of just like, you play a game for a couple minutes, and you're like, that game's all right. Let me go on to the next one. And then, like, it's kind of hard to focus on, like, one game that you just dump $60 into and you really need to beat.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely, not tarnishes it, but you definitely get a little spoiled. But I tell you what, for me, I was never a big arcade guy. Like, I remember, now this is not a woe is me gamer story, but, like, growing up, my parents were like, nah, you're not going to go in and dump 45, 30, 20 bucks in an arcade today. Like, that's just never going to happen. Like, you get $3, go have fun. And then I want to go play, like, The Simpsons, and $3 gets me to level 2. You know what I mean? Like, and there's a lot of little games I'm like, man, I love them, but I never beat them. I played stage 1 450 times because I never had the money to keep going.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
And then you get these emulations, and you're like, "Oh my god, I finally beat Simpsons!" Like it's a little like a 45-minute game,
right? And that's like my favorite thing to do too with like some of these like a main machine or something, is to go back and play these arcade games that you played when you were kids. But there was like you said, your parents weren't just giving you $50 to go finish this game.
Yeah. Now
you can do it, and you're like, you're seeing portions of the game that most people have never even seen before, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. But so going back to the book here. Now you guys reviewed every single copy. How long is that? Because how many games are in the NES library?
I want to take do you mind if I take a stab at the number, Mike?
Sure.
I'm thinking it's about like 753.
I would have been in the 700s as well.
I believe it is in. Well, see this is the thing. We reviewed every single game in the U.S. library.
Oh,
but,
okay, yeah, that's like
UK.
But
we also did games that were like also in PAL regions too.
Okay.
So, but if you count like every release in North America, only, there were 721 games that were official Nintendo games. I'm not counting like the unofficial stuff that got released.
I got you. Yeah.
How many unofficial games were there? I know that was big in like Atari, and
it's big in
you
Nintendo,
have one unofficial game, right?
NES too. Well, I'm sorry.
I'm saying, Ben, I think you have that one NES cartridge that you have to put another cartridge in to play it. You showed me the one time. It's like a Japan version or something.
Oh, you're talking about Holy Diver. Yeah, I made I made a converter out of like a gyromite, and what I did was I kind of like used thin cement and like the actual posts that were in the actual cartridge itself to hold everything together, and I actually like had it to where like the plastic melted where it would hold very well. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, his game collection is insane.
I have a Dynamite as well. Yeah, and I haven't done that to mine, but I kind of just have it there as kind of just like a collector's item.
Yeah. Now you were saying, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, for the Nintendo, like you were saying, there were plenty of Nintendo on-release games because a lot of these companies weren't allowed to make games for the NES because Nintendo would tell stores like, hey, if you sell these other companies' games, we're not going to provide you with our games. So, like, these other companies would go out and they create their own different shells. That's why you see like Tengen games that kind of have that black cartridge.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo, they didn't have to do that as much because they didn't have a chokehold on the market like they did back with the NES. So there's kind of really no way of telling how many unofficial games are out there, but they're definitely out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting to know about because I never really heard of like any unofficial games. Like, could you, if you know one off the top of your head, what would be one that would come to mind that people might know?
I'm trying to think.
I don't mean to be racking your brain here.
No worries. Yeah, I can't think of a lot of Super Nintendo games. I believe there was like a Noah's Arcade or a Noah's Ark game.
Oh, the
Noah's
Bible
Ark.
games.
I'm
Yep.
thinking of Wayne's
You
World.
have a Bible game.
I do have Super Noah's Ark 3D. It's like
the game I was
the
talking
Doom.
about.
It's the Doom build. Yeah, it's like the Doom,
Now,
but with like
is that for the Nintendo or the Super Nintendo?
that's a Super Nintendo.
That's
yeah.
the game I was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
It's a bigger looking console.
Yeah, now that you brought it up, like I'm like, yeah, I do have it. I have a complete box with the manual and all too.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That was one game. It was called Super 3D Noah's Ark, and
Yes.
it was Wolfenstein, but
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
made to be, like it's just Christian themed.
That's
But that's
hilarious.
probably like one of the most popular ones. But there are others that are out there.
Yeah, I know. Like you go back and you play the old, like if you have like an emulating game and you play like the old school, like let's say like adult theme games for the Ataris, the Custards game,
right.
and a bunch of those interesting ones. But yeah, that's why they kind of kiboshed, like, nah, we can't have any of those games anymore.
It's a funny story. When I was a kid, my neighbor was over at my house one day, and we were playing my dad's Atari. And he told me, he was like, "Hey man, I have like this adult Atari game. It's my dad. You want to go see it?" And I was like, "Yeah, there's no adult Atari game. What are you talking about?" So we went over to his house, and he actually had a game. It was called X-Man, and he popped it in his Atari. And it was you were a stick figure guy who had to make his way to the center of this maze and he didn't have pants on, so it was like a pair of scissors chasing him.
Yeah.
And if they caught him, obviously, what would happen.
He'd be castrated. Yeah,
Yeah,
there was
exactly.
one. There was one. It was like a gigolo one and a hooker one, and you went from house to house and made calls, and you couldn't get caught by the police.
Yeah.
Then there was one. We'll just say it was called. I can't even say the name because you know what? Listen, kids, you know by now. You can just type. It's called Beat 'em and Eat 'em. And, you're shooting male semen into, it's like asteroids, and it's open girls' mouths on the other end. It's just crazy that was an Atari game.
And
those games go for like super crazy amounts of money too.
And don't forget Custer's Revenge. Oh man.
Yeah, where you rape a girl in a pole. Horrible.
Yeah,
I can see why Nintendo was very strict on what was going in their systems.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, there were games for the NES that actually came out that were kind of like, I wouldn't say X-rated, but there was like a game called Bubble Bath Babes.
Oh yeah.
Where basically it was like a puzzle game, and you got Hot Slots. That's another one. Mm-hmm.
I forget what the third one is, but those were made by Panesian, and they only made like, I think maybe like 3,000 copies or something like that. It's a really low number because it was just
that's a cool thing that we try to do on our show too. Is like usually when we do like a Not Cool in High School, we try to every show we talk about, like, we just have normal nerd conversations, and we talk about what's new in the news and how we feel about it and what we're watching and playing, and then we have a topic at the end of the night, and then someone does all this research on a topic that you wouldn't even think about, or maybe that's popular but not everyone's into, and then we do like a whole research project on it. And when we did the one on Nintendo, we found out about like Nintendo's had hotels. You ever hear of the Nintendo Love or Hotel Love or whatever it was called?
Yes.
Where you could rent rooms by the hour to play video games, but nobody was playing video games.
Right. I was watching a YouTube channel not too long ago, and I believe that came up, and I was like, "Whoa!" I honestly I didn't even know about that until recently.
Yeah, we try to, like, that's where that cool stuff comes in, man. Like you find those research pieces, and then you tune into the show, and you're trying to educate somebody, or maybe you already knew about it, but somebody else didn't.
Right.
Yeah. So, if you had your Desert Island NES games, what would they be? Well, you can get like we'll give you 4.
Oh man, Desert Island NES games, right? Just regular 8-bit Nintendo.
Yep.
All right, number 1 would be Contra. I mean, that's an obvious choice. I've probably beaten that game about 1 million times. My number 2 game would be Baseball Stars.
Okay.
Not Baseball Stars 2, the original Baseball Stars by SNK.
Okay.
Number three. I'm gonna have to go with like I guess a Legend of Zelda. That's probably a basic pick, but
Yeah.
I'd have to go with that just to get like a classic, kind of like adventure game in there. And my number four game would be Super Dodgeball.
Wow.
Ooh, the curveball.
Yeah, I absolutely love that game.
Yeah. I
But,
think the only one I would change for me would be in there, and I still have never beat it. Hopefully, if I ever get someone that can mess with my retro classic, a Maniac Mansion.
Oh, that is probably my absolutely favorite game of all time.
Yeah, I love that. I never beat it, but I always wanted to go back and try to figure it out.
Oh, you haven't beaten it?
No.
Yeah, you just got to go through with a walkthrough one day, and you'll finish it in like a half hour.
I played Day of the Tentacle like 100 times, like the predecessor to that game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Day of the Tentacle. That got a re-release a few years ago on the PS4 and the Vita.
Really?
And it got like updated. It's not updated graphics, but it has like a easier interface and kind of a little bit of an upgrade.
I actually want to pick a Vita up again, and if that's the case, if that's on there, that'll be definitely a game I put on it.
Yeah, that's yeah, I love that.
Because you can play Maniac Mansion on.
Now that you said Maniac Mansion, I think I might want to switch Legend of Zelda actually for Maniac Mansion.
Wow. Now there's a cool thing in Maniac Mansion where there's a special brick that you press and it sets an alarm off. And to this day, no one knows how to turn that alarm off once it's activated. Like there's you put a code in, and supposedly there was supposed to be a market something with marketing with Pepsi, and you get this code from Pepsi, and then you go to this brick and put the code in. But I guess halfway through the game's process, the deal with Pepsi fell out. So this brick, you push it, and you push the brick, and it comes with a 4-digit code. And even if you ignore the code, or if you try to put anything in, it sets an alarm off. And if you don't, and you just can't turn the alarm off, and then the house blows up. And I don't think anyone's ever really figured out how to stop that alarm or what that code is even for.
That is awesome. I'm gonna have to look that. I'm gonna have to look into that. I didn't know about that. I mean, I did know about the Pepsi kind of tie-in because when you see the green tentacle, he actually you could offer him a can of Pepsi, and he's like, "Wow, 12 full ounces."
Yeah. I used to, when I was young and I stuck to the game, all I would do for hours is just knock on the door and run. All day long. I would just, and then eventually they're like, I'm not coming to the door no more.
Yeah, Ed and Edna, those are two characters.
Yep. And then your Super Nintendo.
Wow, Super Nintendo, I'm going to have to go with NHL 95. I love the NHL games on the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. I mean,
my cousin had a glitch that he would he would take it and he would drive down to the corner and he would put it like literally right before you go around the back of the net, and it was like a guaranteed goal every time. You couldn't stop it.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, I've played a lot of 95, but I kind of lost my touch with finding those sweet spot goals.
Yeah.
But NHL 93, I could still play today. That was just called NHLPA hockey, actually.
Yeah.
But I still can play that today and find that sweet spot.
Yeah, you couldn't stop it.
Right, it was impossible. I would just piss my friends off and they end up slamming my controller on the ground. I have to ask my mom for a new one. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, NHL 95. The other game would have to be Super Mario World.
Yep.
I mean, that's a classic.
a standard, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna actually say Demon's Crest. Have you guys ever played that?
Ooh, okay, all right. Yeah, no, I know all about Demon's Crest.
Oh, okay. I actually reviewed that one for the book. That was probably the one I had the most fun reviewing. But that's one that I've played through just several times over. And as far as the last one, I'm gonna have to go with like a classic RPG, like Final Fantasy 3.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Those four, those would keep me busy for a while.
No, I did a Nintendo game, Ben. What would be a Super Nintendo game that you would throw in the mix?
For me?
Yep.
Oh boy, I probably would throw in Earthbound because I love playing that game, and like every once in a while, like in the summertime, I always try and beat that game before the end of the summer. It was kind of like one of those 10-year-old kid, goals.
And you have that complete in box.
I have that complete in box. I actually have two copies
that's
of that.
That's a good one.
I have that one complete in box with the manual and the scratch and sniff cards. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I just have a playable copy that I got for $50 before like the video game boom happened then too.
Yeah.
Like 2009, 2010. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I always play my games once in a while, so I try and get my use out of them. I have to end up getting the batteries all changed out,
Yeah.
so the saves do well and
Actually work. Yeah.
yeah.
Did you beat Earthbound?
Oh, I've beat it like how many times? I've even gotten
okay.
to the point where like I kind of maxed out levels. I even got hidden weapons. I even got all of Pooh's, the King's Crown, the King's Sword, all that stuff. So
awesome.
that one I'm well versed in. So that's not good. That's one I really love playing. Every time I play it, I just like playing it. It's just like one of those games I'll never get sick of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still remember going back to sports games. I can still remember a code for a sports game. Madden 95 LRLRA unlocks the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Carolina Panthers, and they were both 99 overall teams.
Really?
Yep, they just entered the expansion, but they didn't put them in the game.
So they could...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's LRLRA, and you can unlock in Madden 95 the Carolina Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that.
I remember like after plays were over, like before NFL Blitz was a thing, we would run up and hit the hurdle button, and it would look like it kicked the guy in the nuts, and he'd go, and he'd fall over. Like you hit a guy, and the ambulance comes on the field and take him off.
Yeah, that was my favorite part about playing Madden. Actually, just watching that ambulance just smash
He's
into
like,
all
he's
the
dead.
other guys.
Yeah. Savage kids. There was a baseball game I used to love. I think it was called Super Bases Loaded. It was super, super simple, but I remember just being a lot of fun. But it wasn't like licensed MLB teams. It was like made-up ones.
I don't know. Like I always remember Ken Griffey Jr. baseball then too.
Yeah, that was.
I never
classic.
played it,
Yeah.
but I always remembered like I think Nintendo Power really pushed it way back in the day. Even had like a review on it too.
Tech Mobile. I mean, we're going back a system, but Tech Mobile is a classic.
Yeah, Tecmo Super Bowl. Yep. The Ken Griffey game, I actually fired that up the other day because, it's a nostalgic game.
Yeah.
And definitely not as good as I remember it being. I was like, that's another one to bring up. Yeah, I remember that being great when I was a kid, but you play it now, it's just it's pretty hard, actually.
Yeah. That's how GoldenEye was for me not too long ago. I tried playing GoldenEye. I'm like, how did I play this?
Yeah, GoldenEye, that game, I hate to use the term has not aged well because it's kind of unfair. But yeah, that's kind of a hard one to go back to.
Mm-hmm. The controls, like it's just hard to relearn that controller system.
It's basically like a learning curve, really.
Because you don't realize how much they put into first-person shooters that assist you. And then you go back and play GoldenEye, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's like, what am I doing?
Yeah, there's like 3 different mechanics to look. And that's not even, it doesn't even have a lock on aim. Like you gotta manually. I still remember being a kid and I would pop a headshot like no one's business. And I went and I'm like, how did I do that?
Right.
It's just,
as far as collections, do you collect games? Or I mean, I know Ben, you said you had.
I'll go first because it's not as extensive. When it comes to old school games, I really don't collect too much.
Okay.
I pretty much start like my collection starts with like CD based games. So I have every Madden from 2001 up, every cover boy. And then I have like the special edition versions, like 2005 had 2 editions, 2007 had a Spanish edition and a regular edition, 2009 had a Spanish edition. So I collect all the Maddens. Since they went to the next gen, like I don't have any of those because I turned to digital. But I'll just go back and pick those games up eventually when they're like $1 at a yard sale. Yeah. I collect wrestling games, so I have SmackDown 1 all the way up until 2K. Obviously until the new generation, then they're all digital on my system.
Right.
And then I kind of like I try to get all the Grand Theft Autos. Like I just finally found Grand Theft Auto 2 complete in box with the manual and everything. So I have 1, 2, London. Yeah, so stuff like that I try to collect. Like just mostly CD ones. Trying to go back and getting some old PlayStation 2 ones. Like I want to get Champions Return to Arms. And Def Jam Vendetta Fight from New York. I only have it for Xbox, but it's not easy to find for PlayStation. If you do find it, they want like $85 for it.
Oh, it's one of those. Okay,
Yeah.
They come out like at the end of the life.
Yeah.
The life cycle. Oh, okay.
No, not really so much the end of the life cycle. It's just a real like you can get the first Def Jam Vendetta, no problem. But Fight from New York is the one everyone tries to get. That's like the top one.
Like a popular.
Yeah. But yeah, I collect some of those. Like I said, I'm a big sports game. I have all the college football games from PlayStation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like just the cover boy ones. So like from PlayStation up to Xbox 360.
I remember there was one on the PlayStation 3, a college football game that was like super hard to get.
Yeah.
I believe it goes for
Was
like
that might have been Game Day had.
It was NCAA. I forget what year it is because it's funny.
If it's NCAA, I have it.
Main Street Video Games in Bloomsburg, Tony. The guy actually had a copy of it.
Really?
Yeah, he was selling it for like $60-$70.
I know the last college football game is very expensive to get. The last one they made, because people still EA won't turn the servers off because people still go on there and put the updated roster. So you can download, and if you have a Xbox 360, or I don't know if PlayStation still allows you to do it, but you can go on the PlayStation or Xbox, have the original copy of the game, go on the servers, and then you go on this website, add this one username, download his roster, and every year he puts the brand new college football roster out. So there's not a college football game, but this guy does the rosters every year still.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. Like you can actually download. And we were talking about Super Tecmo Bowl earlier. Some guys actually update that. They update their rosters to that, and as well as NHL '94, since that was the most popular NHL game for the Genesis Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I've seen people do that with NBA Jam as well.
Yeah, yep, NBA Jam.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yeah, I've downloaded a few of those like over the years, just to kind of I mean, it's cool to see for a few minutes. You're like, oh, cool, yeah, that guy's in this game that's 20 years old, and then
you gotta
kind of just turn it off.
You gotta send me your websites that you get these files from, so I can put them on my systems.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're very easy to find.
Yeah, I don't trust the internet, so like I type it and then I get this one. So I'm like, this looks shady. I'm out of here. So I'm not well versed enough in it to figure out how to do it. But
okay.
so Ben's gonna narrow down his list of what he collects. Okay, I'm looking at you, Ben.
I have my list.
He has his app. Now listen, it's so much easier for Ben to tell you what he doesn't collect because
I'm the same way, Ben. So yeah, don't feel bad.
He will have you here till 3:30 in the morning. It's not even a joke, and I don't want to keep you that long. Yeah, his collection is insane.
Awesome.
Okay, well,
he would make the 40-year-old virgin blush. Remember how in the movie he had all Ben's collection's insane.
Pretty much, like I have like 28 platforms. That's like from 3DS arcade games, Dreamcast. Pretty much like the first couple generations of like gaming video game consoles, like the Sega Genesis. I'm trying to get like a Master System and all that then too. Mm-hmm. I just never really pursued it too much because there's always that power converter that you can always attach to your Genesis.
Exactly.
And it plays all those games. But well, what do you want me to tell you what I have?
Just like put your big dick energy out there. Tell them how many games of each system you have and call it a day.
Put it this way.
Are you going for any complete collections?
I'm not necessarily. I'm just trying to.
Well, since we're talking about the NES, because that's the book he's putting out, how many NES games do you physically own?
Okay, so NES games. I have about 172. Kind of a weak number, but I have some, uncommon ones like Kickmaster.
Okay.
I think I have Shattered Hand. Yeah, I do have Shattered Hand. And awesome. a few other ones like Double Dragon, Bucky O'Hare.
Could not say that as a kid.
Bucky O'Hare.
Nope, I said the F word every time, and my mom thought it was adorable. What is your holy grail game
in the NES?
Any system?
Oh, okay. I would have to say
you got two of them because we're gonna go on the next topic then.
And Mike, you're gonna definitely like this. It's going to be on the Neo Geo, the MVS Samurai Showdown Zero Special.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
I have the cartridge for that, and that's in really great shape. And my other holy grail, I know the Earthbound is like there, but I'm just trying to think like
yeah, that's definitely that's a holy grail there.
Like real cutthroat. Oh boy. I would say you wouldn't think it. Musha, that Musha game for the Sega Genesis, and I have it's complete in box, manual, the card the cartridge looks phenomenal. It looks beautiful. That's
awesome.
It's fantastic. I'd say those are two that are like easier to access, but those are definitely my two overall.
I haven't found Musha. Actually, I had to have somebody just make a reproduction for me of Musha.
Oh wow. Yeah, the only games I have that I'm proud of is I have the 4 Japanese wrestling games, like the New Japan for N64. So the four holy grails they consider for America, the WCW ones and the WWE. I have the 4 Japan wrestling ones, and then I opened up my N64 and I cut off those notches so I could play them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean they didn't cost me much. I mean I had to order them from Japan, but they wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be from eBay.
Oh, that's cool. Are they in English? I'm guessing it's in Japanese.
No, it's all Japanese. Supposedly,
you've been able to figure it out.
Yeah, supposedly there was a way if you had a Game Shark, you can put a Game Shark in your system, and then put a code in that would translate the games, and you'd play it through your Game Shark, but it would be translated. I went online, I bought 4 Game Sharks at like $30 a piece, and all 4 of them were busted. They didn't work.
Oh.
Yeah, so I got burnt. So I was like, I gave up on that dream. But there's something I am looking at, and if you're an emulation people out there, you can hate me. I'm sorry, but it's called the EverDrive 64.
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah, I want to get the newest one. I heard the newest one's really, really good. I want to get one of those, but supposedly you can put the Japanese games on there and they'll be translated. So that would be like my holy grail if I can get the N64. My favorite system is the N64. Like that library is so much fun. Like the quarterback club games and the NASCAR games, they were just so much fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun library. I've been firing up my N64 a lot lately, playing like the not the original Castlevania game, but Legacy of Darkness. Actually, I love Castlevania games.
Well, did you see that the possibility of the retro N64 is being put on hold now because they can't find, like they're having a hard time making it a mini and making it emulated?
Yeah, I've saw a few different things here and there where they were having trouble figuring out what games they were putting on there, and then there's also like N64 emulation is still kind of it's not 100% yet, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, the Wii, you could actually download N64 games from the eShop, but I don't know. You kind of you need that N64 controller.
Yep. Yeah, I want a N64 mini, but they're going to be tough sales because they have to have the mini system and then the big controller. It's going to be tough to figure it out. Right. And I heard that they might just bypass it and go straight to GameCube. That's another rumor I heard.
Yeah, I think that would be a big mistake.
I do too.
Because people have been waiting for that mini for so long. I mean, even before the Super Nintendo mini was announced, people were like wondering when the N64 mini was coming out. I was like, all right, hold on, guys.
Yep, I agree.
Let's go in order here.
So now you also help run a Facebook page that's pretty successful, and it's a very great page. We follow it. We actually snag some stories off you guys here and there and put them on our page. Awesome. Hey Poor Player.
Yeah, it's our website. It's heypoorplayer.com, and pretty much any news story that is posted to the Facebook page, it's just coming straight from our website. But yeah, we share like news stories on there, our reviews, and also me personally, what I try to do is I try to play a retro game every day. It usually doesn't happen because I have a kid, but I usually try to play a retro game every day, and I'll get screenshots and I'll post it to our Facebook page, and I'll kind of put like a little Wikipedia blurb about it, just kind of explaining what the game was.
Yeah. Now, how old is your kid?
She is 9.
She's 9 now. Have you dabbled her into the world of retro video games yet?
Oh yeah. She's a straight up gamer. Like,
that's awesome.
She sometimes she games a little bit too much, and we have to put limits on. Like, thankfully, like the Nintendo Switch, you could actually limit the time that kids can play on there. So she gets she gets an hour a day on school days, and on the weekend she gets like 3 hours per day. But what is your daughter's go-to game right now? Right now she has a couple that she's playing right now. First one is Untitled Goose Game.
Oh, okay, yeah. Where you go around as a goose and like terrorize everybody.
Right, yeah. She's real into that right now, and also she keeps going back and forth to Minecraft. Like, she's still playing Minecraft a lot. Yeah,
listen, it's like playing with Legos. I understand. I just picked up River City Girls once again. Another super.
That's such a good game.
Yeah, River City Ransom is all time one of my favorites. And when they told the news on the show, about River City Girls. I was like, wait, River City Girls? They're like, yeah, it's the successor of River City Ransom. I was like, oh my god. Usually when I bring that game up to people, they're like, what the hell is River City Ransom? I was like, I remember being like, I was obsessed with that game when I was a kid. But I mean, my group of friends growing up were very sports oriented friend. Like, I didn't have like Legend of Zelda friends until much later in life. And if you were a Legend of Zelda fan, you didn't talk about it because it was like sports were the only thing that were cool in the area. Like, if you're not playing Madden, forget you.
Yeah, I reviewed River City Girls for the site. And I took a little hiatus from the site for a little bit besides doing the Facebook stuff because I was contributing to the book. So I took about a year off.
Oh, wow. And
as soon as I came back, my editor-in-chief was like, hey, I got a game for you. And I'm like, oh, what is it? I'm thinking he's going to kind of lay it on me easy because I'm just coming back, give me like a small, game on Steam that just didn't have much of a big release. And he was like, we got this game called River City Girls. And I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, take it. And I was like, oh, man. I was like, all right. So I think I played it for like 10 hours straight that night.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's definitely grindy, but like
I died like 5 times in the school so far.
Yeah, it's the school. Yeah, the school's ridiculous, and some of those boss fights. Oh my god, man!
The boss fights. Definitely.
Yeah, the boss fights. I mean, I've tried to fight this one, like a couple bosses actually, where I just couldn't beat them. I'm like, man, it's back to the grind. Just go outside and just keep. You can find those specific areas, just like River City Ransom, where the guys give up more cash whenever you beat them and just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah. As a pro wrestling fan, I like how they incorporated more wrestling moves in it, like a Stone Cold Stunner or Power Bomb.
Oh yeah,
Hurricane Rana. It's awesome.
Yeah, that was definitely enjoyable. I mean, it's to see that franchise come as far as it has, and at River City Girls, even before that, there's been several River City games that are like, I mean, they took it from. They remade kind of like there's even a River City Underground, which was made by just some big fans of the series. That's on Steam right now.
Like a fan-made game.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have a gaming PC, so all that I didn't even know existed.
Oh yeah. If you do get a PC set up, River City Underground is really good. And there's been River City Melee came out this year on the Switch, which is basically Crash and the Boys on the NES, but like an updated version of that.
Oh wow.
And yeah, there's been River City Knights, which is basically River City in medieval times.
Yes, yeah, that's downloadable too. Because I wanted to get the physical game of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
have the physical on the 3DS. It's called Knights of Justice, actually.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
That resurgence of those side scrollers are definitely making a huge comeback, man. People are eating it up.
Yeah, I'm loving it because those are like, those are my favorite types of games.
Yeah, like I know one that really brought me back to the fold was for the Xbox 360, and it's one of those games that I installed on my system, and I went back and looked, and I still have it installed, so I didn't lose it. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oh yeah, I still have to play that. I keep hearing so much good stuff about it.
The problem is if you can't buy it on the marketplace anymore, they lost the rights to it, so it's one of those games that if you don't have it installed anymore, it's gone forever.
Right. Yeah, I did see that. And didn't Limited Run or one of those companies come out with like a physical version a while back?
Oh, really? I'm not aware of that.
I did not know that either.
If that's a thing, I would buy that right now. It was such a good game. And it reminded me of River City Ransom. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I thought there was like a physical version, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Awesome. So how long have you been involved with Hey Poor Player?
Hey Poor Player, I've been involved. It's been about 5 years now.
Oh wow! How long have they been together? Like, how long has that page been a thing?
It's been about 8 years, 8 to 10 years or so. Yeah, it's the funny story how I got involved. Before I was with Hey Poor Player and before the book, I actually didn't write pretty much at all. Besides when I was a kid, I would write fake movie scripts all the time. But I used to run this Facebook page, local Facebook page. It was like kind of like a game trader page. And this guy who was trying to buy a arcade game on the page, an arcade game called Carnival. It's like a light gun game.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he was having issues picking up this game. He went to these people's trailer to go pick up the game, and they were like juggalos. Nothing against juggalos, but there was this big thing happened, and they were like, we don't want to sell the game anymore. So he contacted me since I was running the page, and I'm like, yeah, what can I do? They don't want to sell you the game. I mean, I'm just, I'm not like a cop. I'm just moderating the stupid Facebook page.
Yeah.
But we kind of got to talking about Carnival, and it just went from there. And then he told me that, hey, yeah, I run a website called Hey Poor Player. Are you interested in like writing for it? And I was like, you haven't ever seen any of my work? And he was like, yeah, just submit a few things to me. So I did.
I was looking at a video of the website, and it started playing through my phone. I apologize.
Oh, no worries. Yeah. So I just started writing and submitting some stuff to him, and he liked my writing. So he just started sending me some game review codes. And I mean, the game review codes, they just come so frequently. Like, you wouldn't believe how many game review codes we get a day.
How do you get in that boat?
How like to actually get the game review codes?
Yeah.
Basically, you gotta set yourself up with a website and kind of just get everything situated at first, and have something that's presentable, and then when you could contact game companies and just kind of just link them to your site and say, hey, I'm trying to build my website, or I have a website. If you have any extra game codes, you mind sending a few my way, and trust me, they'll send them.
Yeah, I mean, we have the Facebook page. I didn't do the website page because I felt like no one goes to them anymore. But you know what I mean? Like, we have the YouTube, we have the everything, like the Instagram, the Twitter, the whole nine. I just never went the route to making a page yet.
It's even just show them your YouTube page and even your Facebook page. Just contact a game developer and start off kind of like with an indie developer first, because they're the ones who are trying to get their names out there, and say, hey, I got this page with a following. How about you sending me some game codes and I'll review the games, and they will send you the code. All they ask is, once you do get your review up on a site or your YouTube page, whatever you're going to do it on, you just got to send them a link so they can review it, just so they know they're not just giving away games for free.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's definitely something you should be doing, and not just taking their stuff.
Right. Yeah. I contacted just this week, actually. I don't know if you guys ever heard of a company called Bitmap Books.
No.
They're based in the UK, but they're like a really big like retro game book publisher. Like, their books are just beautiful. They come in these fantastic slipcases. But I have almost all their books, but there's a couple that came out recently that before I purchased them, I contacted Bitmap, and I was like, hey, I'm a big fan of your books. I work for a site called Hey Poor Player. We've posted some of your news articles before, some news that they were releasing. I was like, could I be put on your press list? I wasn't even asking for these books. And the guy who runs the site, he was just like, hey, just give me your address, and I'm going to send you a few things that you don't have already. So next thing I know, I get an email yesterday. They're like overnighting me all these books to review. So I'm like, wow, okay, cool. So yeah, I'm going to get these books tomorrow, and then all day long just kind of just flip through them and take notes, and hopefully have a review up like within a week or so.
That's fantastic. Now, is this website your full-time job, or is this like a side thing?
No.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's just something for fun. The book that did net me a pretty significant amount of money, and I'm not getting royalty. It was just, he paid me per review. I did 80 reviews for the book.
Oh wow.
The website, it's kind of just like something for fun. The guy that runs the website, that's his full-time job.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, but it's a small, it's kind of a smaller site. It's not like something big like IGN where those guys can work.
100%.
And write reviews. But
yeah,
this is something I do just for fun.
Awesome. Yeah, we're big fans of it, and like I said, I know we're not big yet or big timers, but we do appreciate you guys working with us and giving us this call and this interview and talking about all that stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Don't want to keep you all night. It is late behind the curtains here. We did start this a little later at night because of my work schedule, but so I definitely appreciate you taking time out of your day and away from your family to talk to us. Is there anything in closing that you want to talk about or put out there?
No, I mean, just you can find our book on Amazon. It's Ultimate Nintendo Guide to the SNES Library. There's also a guide to the NES library. That was the book before this one. I didn't have anything to do with that, but you can still buy it. I mean, it's for Pat. And also just go to Hey Poor Player, like us on Facebook, and that's pretty much it.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it, Mike, for the call on. Anytime you want to call in or anything, let us know. Like I said, we can even get you patched in for the Not Cool in High School if we have a topic that we're doing that you're interested in, or if you want to do your own topic for the night, we could do that as well.
Oh yeah, I'd love to do that, definitely.
Yeah, we can have like a guest topic. Yeah, so like I said, we usually record that one every Tuesday night. Tuesday at 9 o'clock. I know that's tough for you with the way you work. You were saying, but we'll figure something out for you.
Yeah, definitely. If I'm my actual job, I work in pharmaceuticals, and I kind of work at night. But if I can get off a Tuesday, I'm 100% down.
Cool. Yeah. If
Awesome.
you know you're getting off a Tuesday in the future, like, hey, I want to call in. I'll do tonight's topic, and just let us know what it is, and we'll go from there.
All right, I'll definitely do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate you guys.
See you, man.
See you, Mike.
Yeah, everyone, check out the links below for everything that we talked about, and go support Hey Poor Player, and go check this book out. It's a lot of fun. A lot of work goes into those reviews, and they're going back and doing stuff that a lot of game companies aren't doing anymore.
Cool, uncommon, fun stuff.
Yeah, I figured this would right up your alley, Ben. So I appreciate it. So behind the curtains as well, as I'm usually doing an interview on Monday. Then Tuesday we do Not Cool in High School. Today is now Wednesday, and we're doing another interview. And then tomorrow we're doing wrestling. And then Friday we do Bangin' Beers. So it was a very, very busy week, and Ben's a part of 3 things now.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah. So you get a little taste of what it's like to be Tony. But yeah, see you guys next time. And so go check all those descriptions, and share the page. Let people know we're here, and send people our way. We're about 630 now likes on
About
Facebook.
that, yeah.
Realistically, it's funny because we're the least liked page on Facebook, but it's the most watched show almost besides the interviews.
Wow.
So people enjoy the nerd talk. So, All right, guys, take it easy. We'll talk to you next time.